Nantucket was a bustling port in the early 19th century. It was the heart of the American whaling industry. Whale oil lit homes across the nation. It lubricated the machines of the Industrial Revolution. The island's men were drawn to the sea. They sought adventure and wealth. They hunted whales on long and dangerous voyages. The Essex was a whaling ship from Nantucket. It set sail in 1819. The captain was George Pollard Jr. The crew was eager to find whales. They wanted to bring back valuable oil. They hoped to return home rich. Life on a whaling ship was hard. The work was dangerous. The men faced storms, disease, and loneliness. They spent months, even years, away from home. The hunt for whales was a gamble. It promised great rewards but carried great risks. The Essex sailed south into the Atlantic. The crew was confident. They believed this would be a successful voyage. They had no idea of the tragedy that waited them. The Essex encountered a severe storm just weeks into the voyage. The ship was battered by wind and waves. It was badly damaged. The crew feared for their lives. They managed to repair the ship. The storm was a sign of things to come. The ship sailed south along the coast of South America. They stopped for supplies and repairs. At one port, a crew member deserted. His name was Henry DeWitt. He feared the dangers of the voyage. His desertion left the crew short-handed. It also created tension and unease. Despite these setbacks, the Essex continued on its mission. The crew was determined to find whales. They pushed further and further into the vast Pacific Ocean. The early troubles had shaken their confidence. They were still determined to succeed. The captain, George Pollard Jr., was a young and inexperienced captain. He was determined to prove himself. He made some decisions that would have disastrous consequences. The crew trusted him, but their trust would soon be tested. The Galapagos Islands were a haven for wildlife. Giant tortoises roamed the islands. Unique birds filled the skies. The Essex stopped at the Galapagos for supplies. The crew hunted tortoises for food. They needed fresh meat for the long journey ahead. The crew made a terrible mistake. They accidentally started a fire on one of the islands. The fire raged out of control. It destroyed much of the island's vegetation. The fire had a devastating impact on the Galapagos ecosystem. It likely contributed to the decline of some species. The crew of the Essex was responsible for this ecological disaster. They were unaware of the fire's long-term consequences. The fire on the Galapagos was a sign of the destructive power of humans. It foreshadowed the even greater tragedy that was to befall the Essex. The Essex left the Galapagos and sailed on. The crew was still searching for whales. They were unaware that they were sailing into the heart of whale territory. They were about to encounter a creature far larger and more powerful than they could have imagined. The Essex finally found what they were looking for: whales. A pod of sperm whales was spotted. The crew lowered their small boats. They were eager to harpoon the whales and claim their valuable oil. The hunt was on. The whales fought back. One whale in particular was massive and aggressive. It rammed the Essex with incredible force. The attack was sudden and unexpected. The crew was caught off guard. The Essex was crippled. The whale had broken its timbers. The ship began to sink. The crew scrambled to save what they could. They gathered navigational equipment and some provisions. They boarded their small whaleboats. They were adrift in the vast Pacific Ocean, thousands of miles from land. They faced a desperate fight for survival. The sinking of the Essex marked the beginning of their ordeal. It was a testament to the awesome power of nature.